Good, good evening, sir.
You are still muted, Mr. Omo. Good evening.
I thought it was for me. I'm not hearing you.
He's muted. Okay.
Alrighty,
Oh,
I'm muted. Okay, welcome everybody. We're just right on the hour. Just give me a second for some technical setup here. Um, okay. Okay, so welcome everyone. Let's get started. Um, so what we're going to do today, the focus today is on the financial markets. As I have repeatedly said in my broadcast and in different places, there are three major reasons. I hope you can all hear me well. Just some kind of sound check. And then lighting check. Just thumbs up if you can hear me well. Just thumbs up. Mic check and light check. All right, so I got some thumbs up. Okay. So there are three major reasons that we struggle. Many of us struggle in our finances, especially past the age of our 30s into our 40s and 50s and 60s. The number one reason we struggle with money, we struggle with our finances, is low financial literacy. Low financial literacy. I struggled myself. And the interesting thing is, the higher your financial literacy, the more you build financial literacy, the more you build financial skills. And the more you build financial skills, the more wealth that you create. Because money has a language, and its language is finance. If you speak the language of money fluently, that's the language of finance. If you speak it fluently, you will make more money than you can spend in this your lifetime. If you don't speak the language of money, you are going to struggle. Imagine that you don't speak Mandarin or you don't speak Chinese language and you find yourself in China. You see how lost you're going to feel. You can't communicate with anybody. But the moment you start learning Chinese words, Chinese expressions, the greetings and all that, then you can communicate, you can interact, and you can engage. It's the same thing, with money. When we can speak the language better, we make more money. The second reason that we struggle is that we do not have systems for our money. The only system that we have is wake up, go to work, earn salary, spend it, come back at the end of the month, broke, repeat the same cycle. But that doesn't work. So you must have systems for earning money. You must have systems for managing your money. You must have systems for multiplying your money. If you do not have systems for your money, you are going to work until you die. It's not a curse, it's reality, and it's happening around you every day. The reason people die still struggling is that they do not have systems. And one of the emphasis of the Financial Fitness Challenge is to challenge you to build systems. Excuse me. Is to challenge you to build systems instead of just hustling and instead of just the 9 to 5, to build systems for your money. When you build a system, it makes it very easy. Money becomes easy to make. But because you don't have systems, money is so hard, so difficult for you to make. A very simple system that I use is to package my knowledge, to package my insights, to package my experience over the past 50-something years, to package it into very valuable digital products that can help other people around the world. And so I package them into digital products, into courses, into ebooks, into worksheets. And I put it out there for the world. And then every day somebody buys one of those. So I have a system that brings in income on a daily basis, whether I'm sleeping or I don't play golf. I want to say I'm playing golf because that's what rich people do. Or I'm traveling or whatever. Money comes in on a daily basis. And that daily money is very useful. So we struggle when we do not have systems for our money. And I really want everyone to stop struggling and to start building systems. If you spend the next 3 to 5 years building your systems, it's going to pay you much better than if you spend the next 50 years just working. So if you're in your 30s or you're in your 40s, set out the next 5 years, or even in your 60s, it's never late. Set out the next 5 years to build your system. Now, there's a very helpful analogy that I use when it comes to building systems, money systems, building systems for your money. Imagine, okay, don't even imagine it. The planet, the Earth's surface is 70% water, ocean, very big ocean. In fact, when Ethiopian Airlines was flying Togo to Newark, New Jersey, I liked flying with them because it's a direct flight and it was only 13 hours. Unlike flying with the European Airlines or flying through Doha when I'm using Emirates or Etihad, and then doing a layover, and then sometimes it takes like 20-something hours to get to 28 hours to make the trip from Lagos to New York or somewhere. But with the Ethiopian Airlines, just one direct flight and it's 13 hours. Now, why I tell you that, so Delta also, I used to fly Delta as well because Delta has a straight flight, a direct flight to Atlanta. Now, much of the 13 hours flight is over water. So imagine an airplane traveling at like 600 and something miles per hour. That's about, is it 900 and something kilometers? Flying for 13 hours over water. So that's a lot of water. 70% of the Earth's surface is water. Now, imagine that, just follow me and imagine that all the wealth in the world is water. Okay, the water represents the ocean, represents all the wealth in the world, all the resources, all the tools, all the whatever achievements, whatever you can think about in this planet is represented by that ocean. And it means that every human being, all 8 billion of us, have to access the ocean. There's more than enough wealth in the ocean. And all 8 billion of us have to access the ocean for our sustenance, for food, for achievements, for financial freedom, for wealth. There are two strategies and only two strategies that 8 billion people can use. One strategy is every morning you wake up, you leave your house, you go with your bucket, or it's called pail in some cultures. You go with your, is it pail or pail? You know, bucket, or with your jerry can. And then you walk to the ocean, or with your cup. You walk to the ocean and then collect water and come back to your house. Now, the problem with that is that very many people, if you live very near the beach, maybe just 100 yards, from the beach, 100 meters or something from the beach, that's no problem. You can go there, have a bath every day. You can go there and, fetch water, fish, to catch some food every day. But imagine, like many of us, that you're living 100 kilometers, 600 kilometers, or the people living in the desert, 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles from the beach. And every day you have to go with your bucket to the beach to fetch water, to catch fish for your food, to have a bath. Can you imagine how terrible it is? And then some people will never make it to the beach, because imagine you walking 2,000 kilometers, or maybe you drive 2,000 kilometers to and 2,000 kilometers from every single day. Imagine the other strategy where some people say, no, I don't want to be going to the ocean every single day. You know what? I'm living 2,000 kilometers away from the beach, from the ocean. But what I want to do is I'm going to take the next 5 to 10 years to construct a pipeline that connects my house all the way down to the beach. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take years, and perhaps up to 10 years, and then you will have it. But guess what? After building that pipeline once, you are going to use it for the rest of your life. You just relax in your house. And every moment, money is coming in, water is coming in, fish is coming in, water is coming in. And then for the rest of your life, 50 years, for the next couple of generations, that pipeline is not only going to serve in your lifetime, but 200 years after, 300 years after, people are still getting water. So let me ask you, which strategy would you rather implement? Going to the ocean every day with a cup to fetch water and with your fishing net to catch fish, and then repeating the same thing every day, or building a pipeline once that connects to the ocean and then supplies you eternally? So type in the chat section. Let me know, what strategy would you rather implement? What strategy? Is it the daily strategy or the pipeline strategy? Yeah, building a pipeline. Fumi says building a pipeline. Okay. Excellent. Building a pipeline. I think it's a no-brainer. But guess what? 98% of humanity do the opposite. 98% of humanity go to the ocean, to the stream every single day. And that is why people are struggling. The third reason many of us, which is the focus of tonight, struggle, especially when we are in our 30s and above. The third reason that we struggle is that we don't play in the financial markets. We do not play in the financial markets. But I can tell you that 99% of wealth is made in the financial markets. A few years ago, there was a survey that indicated that 58% of Americans all play in the stock market. That's high, 58%. That's high. You know, America, I don't know the current population, but it's probably like 300 million or 300 and something million, maybe 320 million. So meaning that nearly 160 or 170 million people are trading in the stock market, and that for a reason. And then in some of the exercises I will show you today, you will see that there have been companies in the United States that operated, that have been paying dividends for 60 years non-stop. 60 years, 64 years non-stop. And then what I want to demonstrate to you today is how to find such companies. Can you imagine? And then some of them have dividend yields of about 3% for 60 years, they pay dividends. So stock market, the Forex market, mutual funds, ETFs, REITs, bonds, these are financial markets. These are the markets where real wealth is made. So whenever you hear that Jeff Bezos' net worth is 200 and something billion, or you hear Elon Musk's net worth is $400 billion, it's not cash. They are holding that money, that wealth in stocks. I read today that Jim Ovia of Zenith Bank is going to receive 5 billion naira in dividends. This is interim dividend, not even the entire dividend. Interim dividend of 5 billion. It's all in the market, in the financial market. If you go to his house, you're not going to see 5 billion cash, but it's all held in stock, because the stock market is not it's not a casino. The stock market is not it's not a gambling thing. It's not a get rich quick thing. The stock market is actually real companies that are producing real products that people use every day, providing services that people use every day. Talking about Elon Musk, I use Starlink, and you wouldn't believe where I'm talking to you from, but I use Starlink. And so he doesn't even know who I am, but he's making money from me every single month. And that is how he's making money all over the world. And where is that wealth stored? In his business, which is listed also in the stock market. So if you don't play in the stock market, you are denying yourself terribly. You're denying yourself massive wealth. But the reason many people do not play in the stock market is that they don't understand it. They don't understand it. And if you attempt to do something or to play in something in an arena that you don't understand, you will lose the money. So that's what we are going to focus on today. Taking advantage of the financial markets to grow your wealth. And what we're going to do most of today is to ask, I'm going to take your questions. I've been seeing in the group different kinds of challenges that many of you have with opening stockbroking account, with choosing the stocks that you want to play in. Some of you want to invest in the Middle East. Some of you want to invest in the US stocks. We can take care of all that tonight. So perhaps what we will do before I show you, because today I'm going to demonstrate how you are going to use, how you can use ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and then some tools to answer some of those questions that you ask, and then even to understand a little bit more about it. And so for this segment, because a lot of people on YouTube have also been asking the similar questions. So I believe that that's also going to be very valuable for people on YouTube. So people on YouTube might see this segment. Okay, so what we're going to do is I can pause and take your questions. All right, just make note of what is it you want to achieve tonight when it comes to investing in the stock market or in the financial markets in general. So, excuse me, you can type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and the co-host will recognize you and unmute you, and then you can talk. What are your expectations? What do you want to learn tonight? How can you move your financial assets, forward tonight? What do you want to learn in order to move forward? What obstacles do you want us to remove tonight or to address? So you can type it in the chat, or you can type, you can raise your hands and speak. And of course, this session is only for people on Zoom. You are the only ones who can talk or who can ask questions for this session. All right. So if any hand is raised, we can take what is it you want to learn about financial markets. Then some of those challenges you've been raising in the group, let's take all of them together. And by the way, Atlas Portfolio is in that group. I've introduced her there, so you can actually, the representative there, so you can actually talk to her directly for those of you still struggling with opening a stockbroking account. Okay, so a few responses are coming in. All right, Fumi says, when do I exit a particular stock? Okay, and how to take notes. Okay, let's start. Let's take them as they come. Let's take them as they come. So Fumi's question is, how do I exit a particular stock? First of all, you don't even invest. I don't even advise you to invest or to buy any stock without, first of all, defining what your exit is. So when you actually define it before you buy the stock, then you don't need to ask when to exit. You don't need to ask when to exit, because when to exit is something you define as you are buying the stock, because it's part of your investment objectives. So if, for instance, like now, I have some penny stocks that I recommended to the last cohort, which we are going to update. We are going to update that tonight. I'm going to show you exactly how to choose, how I chose those penny stocks that did 300, 400%. So in May, I think the cohort in May, cohort 6, I believe it was, or cohort 5. So it's the cohort in May. The exercise I'm going to show you now, that's what I used to get those stocks. And then you can apply the prompts I'm going to show you today, whether it's in Johannesburg Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange. We are going to demonstrate it here. Or whether it is in Nigerian Stock Exchange. You see, what you're going to learn tonight will blow your mind and remove every excuse to becoming rich. You know why? 20 years ago, I'm even talking about 20 years ago, even 5 or 10 years ago, just 5, 10 years ago, what I'm going to show you, which you can accomplish in 1 to 2 minutes, would have taken you to get a PhD in investment banking, or maybe to work in reputable firms like Merrill Lynch or JP Morgan, or to have been mentored in Wall Street, to become a genius in Wall Street, to be able to do this. How do you analyze the market, the entire market? How do you analyze entire industries? What do you look for in a stock? How do you identify an undervalued stock long before everybody else, long before the public even knows about it? That's what happened with those stocks that I recommended. And some of them, can give you a few examples. At that time, I saw, using this exercise, this prompt I'm going to show you and teach you. And I'm also going to publish it in the group so that you can use it and then share your results and your findings with each other, because the discussion group is also an investment group. See yourself as an investment group, helping each other, identifying opportunities. Like I said during our first plenary, you don't want to wait for a mother coach to be bringing the worms and putting in your mouth. No, no, no. You are better off and more powerful, because if you really want to make wealth, you've got to be research ready. You've got to be to gather the skills and the competencies to be able to do it yourself. How can you, for instance, you get to a level, let's say, for instance, you have 100 million naira, or maybe you have $50,000 or $100,000 to invest. Do you know how terrible it is that you have that kind of money, you have $100,000 to invest, and you don't know what to invest in? That is a terrible thing. That is a terrible thing. And then how can you have 100 million naira, or you have $100,000, and then you are asking somebody to tell you where to invest in? It's terrible. And then many times people lose money because the other thing is that they invest in hype. And for many mature personal finance coaches and people in my space, we always add this disclaimer. Always, anyone who is worth their salt in personal finance, we say it, and it's because of this reason. We say everything I'm telling you and I'm recommending is for educational purpose only. It is not an investment advice. So it's a clause that you have to put, because somebody can tell you to put your money in this, and then you put it, you lose the whole money, and then you go to sue the person unnecessarily. So that's why you need to develop the competencies of also identifying opportunities by yourself. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So Fumi, determine your exit before you even invest. How do you do that? First of all, before you invest, you ask yourself, why are you investing? Is it for short term? Is it for mid-term, medium term? Is it for long term? So maybe I'm investing medium term, like 3 to 5 years, because I want to build a house, or I want to start a real estate project. Yeah, then I put in the money. And when it's time for the real estate project, remove the money, of course, exit. Remove the money and put it in what? Because that original reason should determine when to exit. There's another reason you might want to exit. Maybe at some point you're monitoring your portfolio. So you started with a company that had very solid fundamentals, but the companies went maybe they went into really bad times consecutively, they are losing, and then you really need to stop loss and exit. So that's a different situation. But if you invest in a company that is doing very well, continuing to do very well, and it's still within your timeline, why exit it? I hope that helps. But if the company is not performing well, or the sector, there is something, some trend that indicates that you need to exit, then you can do that. For instance, in Nigeria right now, the oil marketing firms or oil marketing companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange might be having some serious difficulties, because if you've been following the news, you've been seeing the saga with Dangote, because Dangote has these trucks. I don't know how many thousands of CNG trucks that he imported recently, and then they have been having issues because now this guy wants to deliver petroleum products free of charge to the different filling stations. And I understand that he started in Lagos this week, or a couple of days ago, he started distributing, meaning that those companies in that sector might have issues. So if I invested in companies like that, I have a couple of them, but I don't have to mention them. You can always see them in the market. I'm going to exit. I'm going to exit immediately and then put the money somewhere else. But if my goal is still in the future, and then the stocks that I invested in to attend to that goal are still doing very well, then I don't need to exit. Okay, your second question was on taking notes. Incidentally, it's interesting that you asked that question, because Taking notes is a wealth building skill. Give me a second to attend to something. Just a minute. Okay, so taking notes is a very important skill when it comes to building wealth. And then if you look around me and then behind me, there are these notes every single day. And there's always a note by my bedside. There's always a note and a pen by my bedside, because many people thought that taking notes is something you do only while you are in college, while you're in the university. But taking notes is a lifelong skill, because your brain can only hold so much at a time. In fact, your random access memory in your brain, if I recall correctly, I don't think you can actually hold more than 3 things at the same time. And you may have seen this experiment in psychology where they show you like a basketball pitch, and then people are playing in the basketball pitch, and then in the middle of the play, you know, a gorilla, of course, somebody wearing gorilla suit, passes through. If you have seen that, you can indicate that you have seen that experiment, and I think it's online. And people don't notice it because they are following the ball and all the other movements, and then a gorilla passes through the basketball court. People never see it. You know, so your brain cannot hold a lot. And then some of you have had, how many of you remember even the dream you had last week? And so important things are happening every single day. Important thoughts. Some people have said that 95,000 thoughts pass through your brain every single day. And some say 50,000. Regardless, that's a lot of thoughts. Let's say 50,000 ideas, thoughts, insights pass through your brain every single day. Out of the 50,000 ideas and thoughts that pass through your brain every single day, there was one that if you had captured it and acted on it, would have made you financially free for the rest of your life. But you didn't take notes. You didn't capture it. So the first thing is to actually develop the habit of capturing ideas and thoughts. Sometimes I'm having an ordinary conversation with family, with my children. My children are extremely wise, or my wife. You know, she says something, or she even reminds me of something that had happened, you know, a story that I had totally forgotten, because we've been married 30 years. So lots of things have happened in 30 years. So many of them I forgot. So sometimes we're discussing, and then she mentions one. So what I normally do, I go make a note of those. And she is extremely wise. So in the morning, when we are having our devotion, my wife shares something that really, really, you know, just turns my life around every single time. Once we finish speaking, I pick my note and I make a note of it. Sometimes 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, I'm looking at my notes and I see, whoa, 3 years later, something. So sometimes a note, an insight that you capture today is meant for some situation 3 years later. But you see how tragic it is that many times 3 years later, because you didn't capture that thing, when you are in that situation, you have no insight. You have no strategy to go through it because you didn't capture notes. In the Holy Scripture, God told people, write things down. If God himself can write things down, can you imagine? You know, write things down. So the first thing is to actually understand how important, how critical making notes is to our growth. When you have understood that and then installed it as a habit, then the mechanics are very easy. One of the things I learned, I'm going to talk about 2 techniques for taking notes. So one I learned in the university, taking notes changed my life. and it started from the university. I had this Canadian lecturer in the Department of Zoology called C.B. Powell. Wonderful man. He was a genius. When it came to lower invertebrates and all that, the guy was a genius. You go to his house, you see snakes, you see all kinds of things and all that, and he never came to the class. Not one day did he come to the class with notes. But this guy will come, teach for 2 hours, 3 hours, making diagrams, drawing. Oh my goodness, I wish somebody who was in zoology in 1984 when I entered the university, excuse me, could just hear this somewhere and then confirm C.B. Powell was incredible. So one day, and he would make drawings, label all the, if you've ever studied zoology, studied human anatomy, because we did that as well. It wasn't just the medical students. If you've ever studied human anatomy or you've studied evolutionary biology, and then you have to trace the development of brain from the unicellular all the way, while medical students were focusing on human beings. We will do the same thing that they were doing on human beings, but we will do it for human beings, but we have to trace how it came from mollusks to reptiles to avians to mammals and things like that. That's the kind of lecture that this guy will come to teach. And he wouldn't come with notes. So one day I couldn't hold it. I was a teenager then. I couldn't hold it. I must have been 1984, 1985, 19 years, going to 20. I followed C.B. Powell to his office. Guy was a smoker, chain smoker, and drank coffee like crazy. Anytime he doesn't drink coffee for 5 minutes, he went into withdrawal. So I said, look, I'm mystified. How are you able to do this? And then he said, what was I carrying what was in my hands? I had this thick notebook we used to have in those days, thick back notebook with maybe about 800 pages, 800 or 1,600 pages, some really big one. That's what everybody was using to capture notes. So he said, what is it? What's that you're holding? I said, well, that's my notebook. That's what I used to take notebook. He said, throw it away. You use loose sheets. We called it newspapers. You use news sheets. In those days, we used to have foolscap pages. We weren't too familiar with the A4, something that we have right now, foolscap pages. So this is A4. So the guy said that I needed loose sheets like this. And that I don't need to write everything I hear. That when I'm listening, I should just use graphic organizers. Graphic organizers will change your life, and use these organizers to represent the facts. Now, so what I learned from there and what I started doing was I would still copy the notes, especially, how those lecturers who will come and dictate notes. I hate it. I hate dictating notes, you need to teach. And so I will use my notebook and write everything. So I might have like 12 pages of notes from one lecture. But then when I now got back to the hostel, those 12 pages of notes I had in the lecture, I used half a page to draw. I read it and I turned it into diagrams. So I would use arrows, circles. As I was doing that, I was representing the links, the relationships, the ideas here. And what happened was now, when everybody, during examination time, my classmates would tell you, I used to sleep. I used to sleep a lot. I didn't know how to read for 2 hours at a time. So while they're reading overnight, reading those big fat notebooks, I just had some few loose sheets that I will go review my notes and then go write the next day and get my A. I came out with what Nigerians call, second class upper division. and I was actually aiming for first class. Taking notes helped me. The other thing about taking notes, the second thing about taking notes is when you are listening to something, to me, to a sermon, to a TV program, to whatever, to a seminar, draw a line at the middle of the page with a head, just draw a T, a line at the middle, and then cross it this way. So now, this loosely represents what is known as the left brain, right brain concept. There's a concept. I'm not sure if there's a very solid financial, talking too much about financial, scientific. I started as a scientist, and then I'm ending up as a financist. If there's anything like that. So you have your left brain and then the right brain. So it was a popular thinking in those days. And then there's this guy that wrote a book I have here. I think it's called Tony Buzan. He wrote a lot about thinking, and he's the guy that wrote the, I think it was the guy that also wrote the 6 Thinking Hearts. Now, it's assumed that your left brain is the analytical part of your life. It analyzes things. It's the mathematical part of your brain. And it is assumed that men are typically left brain dominant, what they call left brain dominant. The right brain handles imaginations, pictures, dreams, things in pictures and things like that. Now, when you are listening to me, and it will happen to it's been happening to you and continues to happen. When you are listening to somebody in a conversation, one part of you is actually listening to the things he's saying. You might have an aha moment, and then you note that aha moment. But sometimes, have you noticed that when someone is speaking, a part of your mind goes out and starts daydreaming, So I might be talking about money systems, systemizing your money. And then all of a sudden you find yourself dreaming about something around real estate, or dreaming, some idea just comes about even the work you do, systemizing it. So you on the right part of your note leaflet, any idea that you hear that's an aha moment, you make that note on the left part of your note. Anything that comes in terms of picture and imagination, you make it in the right part of your note. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just told you has changed my life. I mean, I'm not even able to communicate it a lot, but once you start practicing it, it sticks. All right, so for me, I hope that helps. Second question. Chukwebuka says, I want to know how to choose stocks by myself. All right, that's what we're going to do today. Alex says, how do I use ChatGPT to optimize investing? Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that one. All right, Samsung SM, please change it to your name so we can call you. I don't want to be calling you Samsung SM. How to ChatGPT to pick undervalued stocks and use investing.com. Very good. Yeah, I'm going to show you that. All right. And Benga says how to use InfoWare in our stock analysis and decision making. I believe that I have a video that demonstrates that, because the market is not in session now, because InfoWare is for Nigerian Stock Exchange. The market is not in session now. I don't know if it will work, but let's try that. Let me show you how that works, even though the market is not in session. Okay, so what you do, you simply go to InfoWareLimited.com. All right, I see a hand up. I'm coming to you. So you go to InfoWare. The market is not on right now, but let me see. Let me see if I can just take you through the interface. because it's really a very useful tool for me. I use this, even though you can do it in most of the trading platforms, but I use this to place my order so that I don't buy a stock higher than I should buy it. So I always buy limit, except I always buy limit. I don't buy at market price, so that even as I'm buying at the end of the market, I would just already have made money, some percentage. So InfoWare helps me a lot because InfoWare connects directly to the market, as well as your trading platforms. If you're on City Trader, that's Atlas Portfolio, it also connects directly. But I just like this interface. Okay, I don't know if InfoWare is coming up because the markets have closed. But if it opens, I can at least show you that. Okay, while we wait for this to load, Gustav, you can unmute and ask your question. And then after
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Coach? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful. First of all, just thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your platform. The reason I paid for the class to join, number one, was just to get a chance to congratulate you for what you do. I stumbled on your video a couple of months ago, and I really wanted to also take an opportunity to encourage everyone who is on the line that what you are doing is revolutionary. I'm originally from Cameroon. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm very familiar with investing and all the stuff, but what you are doing, I hope people really understand the value. And I wanted to, first of all, congratulate you on that. The second thing, and the question I have today is, you have increased my interest in the Nigerian stock market. And I have been thinking of how I can connect to how I can invest in the Nigerian stock market. I wasn't sure. I started doing some research and I said, but what? Coach Ogbo is talking about this. He teaches this. You know what? I'm going to join his class so I can get to have him answer that question to me and probably even guide me on, because I'm not very familiar with some of the companies in Nigeria, but I understand how to research and all that good stuff. But just certainly having a coach like you is an added advantage, because that will get me to ₦1 billion faster.
Absolutely, Gustav. Thank you so much for these kind words. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now, we have been for a long time right now. We have been on this issue about foreigners investing in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because the major requirement to open an account is you've got to have what they call BVN, which is your biometric is it verification number or something like that, a BVN. And then you've also got to have something else that they call NIN. What's NIN? National Identification Number or something like that. And I think that Securities and Exchange Commission is aware of this bottleneck that not allowing foreigners, especially fellow Africans, to participate in the market. So I would like to invite Esther. I don't know if Esther is in the call. Esther, if you're in the call, please do let us know. Esther represents Atlas Portfolio. Because we've mentioned it before, I want our African brothers and sisters to be able to participate in this market, because this market is incredible. The Nigerian Stock Exchange is one of the fastest growing stock exchanges in the world. And this past quarter alone, or maybe half of the year, foreign investment flow to Nigerian stock market, perhaps mostly institutional investors, the big names in America, American financial institutions, are investing quietly in Nigeria. European institutions investing quietly in Nigeria. So I read that about 1 point something trillion flowed into the Nigerian stock market, 1 point something trillion naira in the last quarter or something like that. Meaning that people outside have identified that this is an incredible place because I want to be honest with you, the kind of money that's made in the Nigerian stock market, the US stock market doesn't deliver that. It can, but it can't deliver that, but it takes a lot of effort because this is an emerging market. In the US, the US stock market has over 8,000, depending on who you ask, like over 8,000 equities. I have a list which I downloaded, I copied, to show us over 8,000 equities. And then before you can actually analyze and pick undervalued stocks there, of course, you're going to need artificial intelligence, or you're going to need to subscribe to some stock screening apps that can help you to do that. But in the Nigerian stock market, we just like about 150 equities. So easy. It's like a village community. Everybody knows everybody else. And it's so easy to just hear the news, but in America, what news would you follow? So many thousands of equities, so many things happening in the different counties, in the different states, in the federal government, in the different federal departments and things like that. That's so difficult, to catch up. So that interest in the Nigerian stock market is very, very valid. What I would like in the group is to call Esther to let us know, because as at the last time this was raised, it was also our brothers and sisters from Cameroon who were in the cohort 6, cohort 7. They desperately wanted to come in here. And then it turned out that the only way some of them were able to open was to travel to Nigeria and then get a BVN or something like that. And then they were able to. But that's very complicated. I mean, you live in the United States. You can't start coming to Nigeria to open that. And then if someone else in the group or someone else, listening has some updated and important information as to do that, please let us know. But Gustav, we're going to keep a tab on that because there's absolutely no reason why in this digitalized age that you cannot invest in the market. And I believe that before the end of the year, that Nigerian SEC will do something about it because there's a lot of reforms going on right now. AI-driven management systems. Now they are thinking about increasing the trading hours because now the market opens at 10, closes at 2:20 p.m. Now they want to extend it to 5 p.m. There's also the T+3 settlement that Nigerian Stock Exchange has been doing for like forever. If you sell your stocks on Monday, you can't access your funds until Thursday, perhaps. But now, from next month or from November, it's going to be T+2 until it actually becomes T+1. I think US is doing T+1 or so. Yeah, so let's follow up on that and see how it can be done. But if you can open a bank account with Nigerian bank, if you can try that online, because I think that there's some diaspora banking initiatives right now that should allow you to open. Once you open a Nigerian bank account, you can open a stockbroking account. So I would like you and other people in the group, and those of you who live in the United States that are familiar with this, to please go to the discussion group and then tell us your finding, so that by all means, you all can participate in the market. Okay, so I hope that helps for now. Okay, so this is the InfoWare. This is the InfoWare website. Now, the market is not on, so you will not see live data. But let me show you a few things that you can do here. So here, this is probably one of the most important places when you are trading live. You have the different boards here. The equities are categorized under different boards. So here you have the premium, Access Bank, Dangote Cement, First Bank, MTN, Seplat UBA, WAPCO, and Zenith Bank. They are all classed under the premium. You also have all these other ones. I'm not sure what ASEM is, but there is debt. That's where you have your bonds. Then you have the equities, you have the ETFs, the exchange traded funds, you have the growth, you have the impact, you have the indexes, you have the mutual funds. So this is where all of them are. Then you have rights here, okay, real estate investment trusts. So now, if you want to buy or see what's going on with a particular equity, you need to know, first of all, its ticker symbol. All right, so these are the symbols for the different companies. And you need to know which board it is under. For instance, you cannot see TIP here. You cannot see Qtix because they are not under premium. You cannot even see GTCO here because it's not listed under premium. Now, what I typically do is to go to all board. Then it lists everything. It lists all the instruments that are in the market. So now it's still coming. So if I want to say buy NEM Insurance, that was the last stock I bought. That was the last stock I bought yesterday. I also mentioned it in the group. Okay, I did some analysis on NEM, and then NEM seems to have a good buying opportunity. So if I just type NEM there, and then I click on it to see what is going on. All right, so at the when this opens, when the market is actually live, you are going to be seeing a lot of movement here. So let me explain what's going on here. This is where you have the bids and then where you have the offers. You see this capsule that's got red to the right and green to the left. It tells you how many shares of NEM is currently being bidded, and currently being bidded, and then how much of it is offered. The offer is the sellers who say, all right, we want to sell this number of shares. And then the bids come from the buyers in the market who want to buy. Now, sometimes you can see that in this case, there's more offers than bids, and it can tell you a lot of things. You know, maybe people are dumping, people are selling, and it might represent a buying opportunity. It might represent a very good bargaining opportunity because too many people want to sell and very few people are here to buy. Here, it now gives you some more information about this first line, for instance, says that the seller is asking for 28 naira 5 kobo. The seller has 48 of these shares at this price, and the number of, this is order. I'm not sure. This is the order. Is 48, and then the total is typically the number of people who are selling at this price. If you come to this place, the total being bidded on this side is 4,487. There's only one order. In other words, it's one person ordering this volume at this price. In this case, you have a total of the blue line, you have a total of 5,547 bids. There are 2 people or 2 orders who are bidding at 26 naira. So this is the information you get here. And actually, it's actually more lively when the market is on. Because if I want to buy now, I can bid at 26, for instance. I can bid at 26. If I bid at 26 and I say I want to buy 1,000, this number will immediately update to 2,060. And then this one would update to 3 because I've become a third person placing order at this price. Okay, so this is what information you can get. There are a lot of other things you can find here. For instance, you can get information about the company, about name. For instance, here, if you click on the equity fundamentals, it brings out a dialog box that allows you to see some interesting information like who are the people, are they institutional investors, who are the management teams, who are the directors of this company. And this information is so important for you in making a decision. So here you have all the fundamentals, okay? The current ones, 3 months change, 6 month change, and all that. And here you have the financial fundamentals, 3rd March, this and that and that and that. You have all the cash at hand. You have the financials here to help you make a decision. And here you can also find who the directors are. Because sometimes, there are certain names that when you find in a particular company, it tells you a lot. And then there are certain investors that you see in a particular company, like there is one insurance company, you can find that out yourself. There is one insurance company that Aradel invests in. So you can be sure if you come to foreign institutional ownership. So here there is none. Okay, and then news. So if there's any special news that will affect this stock, this is also where you find it. So that's about InfoWare. With the market, there's a whole lot of things you can do here, but this is one way to use it, especially to place your trades. So if I want TIP, it's the same thing. If I come here, I can find all that information about TIP, and I can see that there are 1.1, nearly 1.2 million bids, people wanting to buy, and then only 458,000 offers. And I can go to the equity fundamentals for TIP and then find out, is there a foreign institutional owner? Who are the directors? What are the fundamentals? Okay, so some of them are not populated, but you get the idea about what you can do with that. All right, so let's take another question before I show us. Okay, let's take another question. How to use InfoWare. So we've done that, and then we've taken Gustav's question. Francis says, I want to know how to create an investment account and guidance to possible investment opportunity to start with. Okay, I'm a Cameroonian as well. Okay, very good. I need you to please make sure that you are going through the video lectures, the modules, because some of these things are covered. Some of these fundamentals are covered. And can you confirm, Francis, can you confirm that you have been accessing the video lectures? Because that can actually help you. Okay, but to create an investment account, I would assume that you already have a means of generating the funds that you want to, because there are three skills that go hand in hand with investment. The first one is the skill to make money, because you've got to make money before you invest it. Second skill is a skill to manage money. And this is where you are going to allocate the income to different things. You know, you probably want to allocate something that you're going to use to sustain yourself, to buy grocery, to take care of yourself in the month. You probably want to allocate some money, some percentage for emergency fund to handle emergencies. And then you want to allocate some money for investing. That one is within your future, that your investments pay you in the future. When you have this set up, a simple investment account, like in this case, we're talking about the stock market. If you have a particular amount of money that you want to start with, if it is little or if it is moderate amount of money, you can decide. The next thing is to decide, what stocks am I going to invest in? And then you are not looking at stocks in terms of their prices. You are considering certain things. Number one, you are considering the sectors of the economy. For example, banking, agriculture, manufacturing, food and beverages, insurance. So you look at all these sectors. If you have a little amount of money, let's say $200, you may not want to spread it too thin across too many stocks. You might just pick something like 3. So you might start with something like 3. You can pick one from bank, you can pick one from telecommunications, you can keep one, depending on the sectors that are performing very well in your economy. And you pick those ones and start with. Now, the other important thing about opening your investment account is the consideration of what your investment objectives are. Because the nature of your investment account will greatly depend on what your investment objectives are. Are you investing to retire? Are you setting up investment for retiring? Like, part of mine is retirement investment. And because of it, I'm picking stocks in that particular retirement investment account that I will never sell, that will produce passive income in the form of dividends, enough to take care of my retirement. So that is how you set up your investment account. So you decide on, first of all, setting aside the funds for investing. And then secondly, you open a stockbroking account, because you're going to need a stockbroking account to be able to do that. And then thirdly, you pick some stocks, some diversified stock portfolio, not putting all the money in one stock at a time. And then from there, you build. And then most importantly, education, educating yourself. Excuse me. One book I really like to recommend to everyone who wants to invest in the stock market is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Okay, and then if you don't have access to the book, you can listen to it, to the audio book versions. It's all over YouTube. So educate yourself, because I keep saying that the money is not in the market, the money is in your mind. And you can only do well to the degree that you understand what you are doing. Okay. Gustav says, I have a UBA account for 10 years now. I need a piece of the company too. Okay, fantastic. Yep. Oh, yeah. If you have a UBA account, fantastic. You know, you should be able to. Yeah. And I think the other thing you are referring to is I also encourage investment philosophy. If you've watched the video, you would have heard me say that I invest in the things I use, because I want to be owner. I don't just want to be a user. In other words, if I use phone, which I do every day, I don't just want to be buying airtime and data every time. I want to own the company that sells the airtime and sells data. And that's exactly what I did with my telecommunications investment. I didn't do it particularly because I like telecommunications, but I said, if I use the phone every day, I might as well own the company. If I use the bank every day, I might as well own the company. And so that's why I don't complain. People complain about bank charges and all that. I don't. Because anytime the bank charges you, I make money. Why? Because I own a piece of the bank. Anytime you buy airtime from MTN, I make money. And then guess what? The dividends, they didn't pay dividend last year because they had this foreign exchange crisis. Yeah, even though they made more in revenue, it was less because of the foreign exchange crisis. You know, when the dollar went all the way from 700 naira, the naira went off all the way from 700 naira to the dollar to 1,006, 1,007 at that time. But then before then, the dividend that I'm paid by the telecommunications takes care of all my airtime and data for the year. So that's smart. In that sense, I'm not cannibalizing my capital. I put my capital to work, and my capital is paying my bills. Instead of using your capital directly, instead of spending your capital directly to travel, how can you structure your investing in such a way that your investment can take care of your travel, take care of your grocery, take care of your fuel in the car? That's what you really want to do. Okay, Francis, I see your hand up. I don't know whether you've already, is the same question or you have a different one. So Francis, on mute. If I've already answered it, then don't worry. But if it's a follow-up question, go ahead.
Okay,
Francis?
thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Coach, for giving me this opportunity. It's a rare privilege for me to be here, and I really don't take this opportunity for granted. I would like to say that what I have to say now is a follow-up, maybe question to what you already said. Thank you so much for the insight. I think it was quite helpful. However, I have just a few other issues also to get clarity on. Yeah, so to begin, Coach, I'm from Cameroon, and talking about investment, of course, I'm very much interested in rather investing in Nigeria. Of course, if you know, in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, if you know, in Cameroon, for instance, the stock exchange market here is not yet very developed. It's still very minimal. And really, yes, talking about of course, having followed you for a couple of, for quite a while, that's when I really got to understand how big the Nigerian stock exchange market is and what opportunities we could really take from that. So, yes, so my question rather is to understand what is the possibility of creating this investment account perhaps in Nigeria, and then how actually can I get started with the different sectors. Yeah, and I would also like to say that please, I am really a novice in this, and really I will depend so much on your guidance to be able to know which areas where I can actually get started with this investment. Why, of course, for me, I just want to get started while learning in the process, because I think that's the best way to really learn. So I think for now, for the recommendation that you have made, I think I'll have to follow up with that. But one difficulty which I've experienced since I just got registered yesterday. Yeah, there are a couple of those videos. I've not been able to access them again. because I had so perhaps I don't know if you can be able to guide on how I can access them as well. So I
Okay.
think these are my few worries. Thank you so much for giving me the attention.
Okay, no problem, Francis. So first, like we said before, there are still a lot of lack of clarity as to how Cameroonians can open investment account. So it's something that we are going to research a little bit on. So Gustav had mentioned it a little bit earlier, but if you can open a bank account, you can. Some people in the previous cohort, they just had to pay some price and then travel down to Nigeria to open an account. I don't know how they did it, but once you have a BVN, you can actually open an investment account, a stockbroking account. And what you can do, there are some Nigerians, in Cameroon, quite a number of them. Also ask them, whether there's some kind of Nigerian offshore banking that they have there that you can take advantage of. Now, for accessing your program, please go back to, when you purchase the program, you got a receipt, right?
Yes,
Francis?
yes, coach.
Yes, you got a receipt on the email. Just go to that receipt. You will see a button that says access course. You'll see a button that says access course. So what you can do, you can actually do that while we are live, so that you can let me know. Once you see that button, just click it, access course or something like that. You will see it in that receipt, and then it will give you access to the. If that doesn't work, then after this session, I can take it with you, and we do that. Yeah. Okay. So someone says that there's UBA in Cameroon. But it is, well, I don't know, but I think it's a Cameroonian bank, not a Nigerian bank, even though it's UBA. Because I remember I had a GT or Access account, SAS Bank account in Nigeria. I went to Ghana and I thought I could just walk in there and access my account. They had no idea. So it was a separate company, and that. But please do go to UBA and then make some inquiries about how you can do that, and come back to the group and report to us. But let's solve the problem together. I would like our brothers and sisters in Africa and different places, people joining us from different places, United States, everywhere, to have access to that. Okay, Joel, what's your question? Okay, so let's take one more, just this question. And then after that, I'll go into the demo to show you how you can use ChatGPT, investing.com, to pick winning stocks. And I want you to listen very carefully, because I want you to practice it and then share your own stock picks in the group. This is how to learn. It's so easy for me. I hope you understand that. It's so easy for me to just come to the group and tell you, buy this. It's so easy. And it will work, because it has worked for the previous cohorts. But I'm thinking, why can't you just learn to do it by myself? Let me make it plain for you. Just show you exactly the same thing I'm doing, so you can do it for yourself at any time. I thought that should be better, than just giving you, okay, buy these stocks and all that. Okay. Yes, Joel, unmute and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, Coach. Coach, I want to ask something, because yesterday I opened the Atlas portfolio.
Okay.
I'm in diaspora.
Okay.
I put the answer, they sent me an email, the CC, the CG, everything. I made a deposit yesterday. I don't know which app will I use to trade. Second, I need to trade in, to buy stock in Nigeria stock. I don't know, at least like 200. I don't know the actual process. I have First Bank account in Africa, which I register everything with my BVN here. I process everything online, which they sent me the account and everything, including the Atlas portfolio. I need to know. Now I've not heard for them. How will I trade and buy the stocks, sir?
Okay. So have you been able to log into the Atlas portfolio trading platform?
No,
City
sir.
Trader?
No, no,
So
sir.
it's in the email they sent you. Did you follow
Yes,
all the
I saw the pin. They asked me to follow the instruction which they recommended. It led me to YouTube. It led me to YouTube to follow it up. But I wrote them because I have one the number. I wrote them on WhatsApp, with the letter saying that is credited. I don't actually till now. I don't know how would I go buy it. Or do I have any other app to store so as
No,
I can trade?
no. Joel, you received a login information, didn't you? Not
It
YouTube.
is.
I'm not talking about YouTube video. I'm talking about login information.
Yes,
That's
yeah, they
how
sent me everything.
login and password.
Yes, sir.
Have you logged in with that password?
No, okay. I needed to know if we store the app. Should I store the app, sir?
No, there's no app to install. It's on the web.
They have not sent me.
Follow the instruction. Just follow it line by line. They sent you a username and password, and they sent you a link where you will click and log in and also change your password. All that instruction is
No link, sir. Only the link they sent me, when I click the link, it directs me to video, to YouTube. I can screenshot this time, you see everything. They didn't send me the CC and other thing. It directed me to the link they sent to me. They said the instruction. I followed the instruction. It directed me to YouTube.
but you said you received a username and password. Did you say you received a username and password?
No, they only Chichi. They sent me CC and other 2 passwords they sent to me. The username not yet, sir. They have not sent me username. They only sent me this that your account has been successfully opened. That is my Chichi, and I can log anytime. I can change my password and the username. Until now, I've not heard anything from them.
No, you are not supposed to hear from them. If they say you can change your username and password, it means that they have sent it to you now. Okay, so let's take it offline in the group. You can screen capture what they sent, even though it's supposed to be private. It's not something you're supposed to screen capture. If you just follow that email, you're supposed to, when you, so what you do, so pay close attention. If you go to, because this is how you log in. So their trading platform is called City Trader. So you can see City Trader. That's what it's called. Okay, so assuming that, because I already have it here. So you see, if you type City Trader Atlas Portfolio, you see this one? It will now take you to City Trader Atlas Portfolio. So so this is, let me put it in the chat. That's what you would type. So let me put it in the chat.
Okay, sir.
So just type that in Google.
Okay, sir.
Are you with your laptop right now?
Let me on my laptop, sir.
Okay, don't worry.
I'm using for my laptop is beside there, sir. Okay.
So it will now take you to this City Trader Atlas Portfolio Limited.
Okay.
When you click that, it will now bring you to it will now bring you to this. Okay, it's been a long time I did mine. Anyway, so if you go to, let me say, register now. this is not what I'm supposed to see. This is not what I'm supposed to see. Let me look at this. Yeah, but that video actually also, the video that is sent you actually tells you exactly what to do. So this is the
Okay.
one. Yeah, so exactly. This is where you should bring you, not there. So
Okay. Okay.
let me copy this one. So this is the application. All right. So this is the one. You click on that, it will take you to this login place.
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
And then you put in your login ID and then
customer care, you understand? Okay.
yes. So once you
No.
do that, I don't want to show my something, but okay. It brings you to the trading platform.
Okay.
It brings you to the trading platform, and that is where you buy stocks and all that. Okay. So click on that link and
Okay.
put in your login details. It will take you there. Then we can take it from there. It's not very difficult. It's not very complicated.
No, I
And
understand.
now, so since you've sent them money and they've credited your account, because I like them because they don't waste time. They don't waste time. Unlike some other stockbrokers, once you send them money to that account, just making sure that you use those details that they asked you to use.
They don't waste time.
Yeah, I think your CHN and all that.
Yeah,
Once you do it, yeah, they don't waste time. So your money is already sitting in this account. So it's when you log in there, you will see it. And it's when you get there that you will now see how to buy shares. And then depending on your investment objectives, how much did you send to them for a start?
Before I go, I was scared. I say I don't know. Come, I want to try. Just say only 100,000.
Okay.
Am I credit? But it's possible. Can I add more fund? I don't know.
Okay. So
is it possible to add more fund?
If you like, you can add more fund like 5 times or 10 times a day. It doesn't matter. As you add, they credit you. So sometimes I send them funds like twice or 3 times in a day, and I use it to trade in that day. So it means that money is already there. So in terms of stock recommendation, let's go through the next stage, and then you will now understand what you can start investing in. But I was about to say that if it's 100, you may not want to put it in too many stocks at a time. And then I can recommend a stock like, for long term, I can recommend stocks like TIP, Charms. I can recommend stocks like that. And then, of course, the biggies, like GT Bank, anytime, any day. And Presco is probably my favorite stock of all time. So Presco, I can recommend that for a long term. Those are dividends.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later, but just log in there first and get yourself familiar.
Okay, sir. I'm very grateful to be in this family, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm contented. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Now let me show you practical ways you can use AI to pick stocks. So now what I was saying is that just 5-10 years ago, 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to pick stocks. You wouldn't be able to pick stocks, if you were not an investment banker or maybe a very experienced Wall Street person. But now you can. You don't even need to know all the complicated terminologies. Because I want to be honest with you, some of those indices still trouble me today. Going to understand the indices. And then, to be honest with you, financials, sometimes I've not fully, even though I've taught financials, I've taught companies and then help them, work on their financials. I'm not an accountant. I won't say that I'm perfect in that, but AI to the rescue. AI to the rescue. So what I want to do is show you the actually 3 steps or 5 steps, if you like. but I'm going to abridge it. I'm going to abridge it a little bit. I'm looking at our time. Okay, so first is to think about the rules, what it is you're looking for in stocks. Then the second thing is to now use ChatGPT, use AI to turn those rules into a command. I've done that for you, and I'm going to share just one today. In another session, I can share the second one. I will also jump step number 3, but it's something I will show you how to do. So you can compare your outputs with 2 different or 3 different AIs. So I personally use ChatGPT and DeepSeek. When I have done that, the next thing is to verify, because this is AI. So you still need to verify. Trust AI, but verify. You still need to verify to test it with real data and things like that. So that I normally do with investing.com, because investing.com has live data, it's got real data. And then using that, you can now build your portfolio. So let me jump to this prompt. So this is one prompt I've engineered and developed that you can use in any stock market in the world. And I'm going to demonstrate how you can use it for American stocks to pick. So this particular one, I use this particular one for penny stocks, but I will also show you how you can tweak it to do more than penny stocks. So I'm saying, based on the most recent NGX stock price list, meaning that before you start, if you want to check the Abu Dhabi stock market, before you start, you want to download the stock price list, particularly for that particular day. If you don't do that, the AI does not have up-to-date information, except if you are using some kind of AI app or something. I don't know, what do they call it? AI agent or something that's already had that, and that has its API connecting to live stock market data. But this is fine. This is perfect enough. Now, and I'm saying from this universe, basically a universe of stocks, stock price lists, and things like that, perform a comprehensive screening using both technical and fundamental analysis. Really, really important, because technical basically measures the mood of the market, but the fundamental deals with the health of the company, the real health of the company. It deals with the financial health. It deals with all kinds of things, okay? The sectoral health and all that. So I'm saying you can access fundamentals and news from the company websites, from investing.com, from Yahoo Finance, and similar credible sources. So by this prompt, I'm training AI to be as factual as possible, not to make up things, but to use real data. And I said, for each company, evaluate now. Look at the rules. Remember the 5 steps I gave you. Look at the rules. I need you to evaluate profitability. I need you to evaluate growth trends, sector relevance, and then the recent price momentum, 6 months, the trading volume, the long-term potential of that particular stock over a 3-year investment horizon. So because I'm dealing with penny stocks, I want something that has the potential to go from 10 naira, for instance, to 500 in 3 years. And it's been happening. There are stocks that have been doing that. Beta Glass has done over 400% this year. And I remember investing in November of 2023. I bought Gerrego. I bought the Gerrego stock. It must have been about 300 and something, some little change Naira. That was mid-November. By early February, so that's December, January, early February, barely 2.5 months. That stock went from 300 and something Naira, about 315 Naira that I bought it, to 1,150 Naira. So imagine putting in 50 million in a stock at 300 in November. And then by February, that money doubles into, triples, I beg your pardon, into 150 million. So it is possible. So this is the sort of thing I want to recreate using this ChatGPT prompt. And it is not gambling because it's actually, I'm training it to use real data. And then based on this real data, it can make some predictions that I can now subject to further analysis, myself. I'm not just going to take what AI said verbatim. And I say, rank them by quality of business model, financial strength, and upside potential. So give me a rank. And then out of this, I'm saying recommend the top 7 to 10 penny stocks. Actually, let me just say the top 10 penny stocks for long-term investors and provide enterprise zones, expected targets, and clear strategy and other. Basically to tell me from all its analysis, tell me why you are recommending that. This is very exciting. So I'm going to give you this prompt in the group. So what I will do is copy this. And we now go to ChatGPT. And then I'll just show you the wonders. How, with one prompt, you have done what would have taken a solid investment company 6 months to analyze. So I come to ChatGPT here. Okay, and then I just paste my prompt. So identify all listed companies trading under $10. Okay, what I'm going to do is, first of all, give it, I will do this for the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and then we will tweak it and do it for the New York Stock Exchange, and then just play with it. And then with AI, anything can happen. So let's see if there are things that we have to tweak. So I've got to give it the equity, which I had downloaded just a while ago before we started. So I'm giving it the price list summary, the market summary for today on the NGX. And then that's all. And then I run it holding my breath. And typically AI will give you a disclaimer, all right, which is rightfully so. Just like in personal finance, when we do what I do, we normally tell you, like I'm also telling you, that these are for educational purposes only. These are not by any means financial advice. Okay, so we run it and hold our breath. And it tells you what it's doing. So I like this. Okay, unfortunately, you see what I'm saying? Okay, I'm sorry. After a detailed search, I was unable to find enough credible, up-to-date information to build a full list. That's okay. However, I can summarize what is known, what are the main risks, and suggest some cautious approach, which is fine. So don't panic when you receive this, because as I said, you're still going to take this and do some verifications. All right, so it's giving us a list at the end of it. Okay, it's giving us a list and then told us why. and even gives you a lot of commentary as to what it is doing. Why I didn't include some stronger picks outside of 10 Naira for that, because many strong businesses are priced above $10. I can adjust the price, but I wanted those ones under 10. And then it explains, first of all, what is known, stocks under this and all that. So some of them, NSL Tech, Comatech.com, Universal Insurance, Guinea, and all that, and all that, and all that. All right. Okay. So he said these are just some, not the full list. So he first of all makes a list, then says why under 10 penny stocks are hard to analyze. So it's reasoning with me. And especially because the NGX is not really compared to the London Stock Exchange or compared to the stock exchanges in the US. It's not really that mature. You are going to see what will happen when we do the same thing for the US stock market. And then it tells you why many of them in the NGX are very difficult to analyze. Low liquidity and volume, very sparse disclosures, volatility, corporate risk, and limited. So AI is just a fantastic part of this analysis is giving you is what, if you had approached JP Morgan or some of these investment firms in those days to do for you, you're going to pay them $1 million to be able to do this. And this is the report they will give you. This is exactly the report they will give you. They will tell you, we saw some under 10 Naira, but this is why it's difficult to analyze. There wasn't enough information. And then it says that the technical patterns are noisy, given thin trading, because there's low liquidity. Yeah, some of these stocks don't move. And some of them, they don't buy up to 50,000 a day. So that's not very good. Then it says, this is what we do know about some fundamentals and recent trends outside the 10 Naira group, which we didn't ask. But it's trying to use this to illustrate the contrast between those under 10 and those after. So it says, UBA, for instance, half year, it's got the results versus that. And then Access, it tells you that 1.338, but we're looking for those under 10 Naira. But you can always tweak this. That's the fantastic about this prompt. You can always tweak it. If you tell it to find you those amazing stocks under 50, you are going to get a golden list. So I'm going to give you the prompt in the group, and then you can play with it and use it to learn the market, Ghana stock market, Johannesburg stock market, New York stock market, which we're going to do here. Okay. Now, based on this, it gives you the recommendation and strategy. This is amazing. It said, given limited data, I cannot in good conscience recommend the list of 10 under that with full confidence, but I can suggest a conservative approach and a short list. So I just like AI, because when it comes to finance and investing, you don't come with 100% certainty. Oh, if you put 100 million in this, it's going to become 1 billion. No, nobody tells, anybody who talks like that hasn't been where some of us have been. So there's a lot of being cautious, but at the same time, taking you through. So at the end of it, it came up with UPDC. It came up with CNI Leasing, Lasaco, Abbey Building, and then John Holt. And then it tells you why, it tells you the risks, the possible entry zone, and then where it thinks it might be in 3 years' time. Okay, these are predictions because some of them have already. So this one tells you UPDC, for instance, the strength is that in real estate, the property sector is often undervalued, which is what is happening to UPDC right now. If interest rates moderate, and real estate demand picks up, this stock will benefit. Volume is decent versus many under 5 stocks, because if you're buying a stock, you really want to make sure that the market cap is robust and that the volume of trade, daily trade, is also robust. Otherwise, you might buy a stock today when you want to sell it because the volume is very low. You can't sell it, and people are stuck with stocks that they can't sell. But not with a stock like GT Bank or Zenith Bank or UBA or Presco or Aradel or, you know, those stocks. If you bring out 10 million GT Bank today to sell, somebody will lick it up. People will buy it. But you can't try it for many of these companies, which is what it was explaining earlier, because they don't have that sort of trading volume. Okay. Now, it also tells you the risks of UPDC. It said real estate sensitivity to interest rate, weak consumer power, which is very true in Nigeria. I went somewhere to rent a building, to rent an apartment a couple of months ago. In that neighborhood, is a gated neighborhood. That apartment, just 2 years ago, just 3 years ago, that apartment would have been going for 3.5 million naira for the year per annum. I went there, I called the number to let, I saw there. So I want this apartment, how much is it? They said 20 million naira. I said, I didn't say I want to buy it. I want to rent it. 20 million naira for 1 year. And of course, by the time you pay the agent fees and things like that, you're probably spending like 25 million. So sometimes it's a challenge with real estate because not everyone has 20 million naira a year to pay. But interestingly, people do. People do. But it's just saying that there's weak consumer power, inflation. So it tells you all the key risks and tells you that if you want to invest, you should enter between 550 to 650. Of course, it's assuming that you're reading the technical charts, looking for support and all that. So now, this is now what I will do. I will take UPDC and I will take it to investing.com just to understand a little bit more. This is how I select those stocks. I will take it to investing.com. Okay. Oh no. Okay. All right. I've downloaded it. So I'll go to investing.com and then I type UPDC and then it comes out because literally all the equities you think about in the world are here. And then I click it to find more information. And this is free. This is free. Investing.com is free. Very, very important tool. In your arsenal. It's free, but I have the paid version. I pay $10 a month just to have some additional information. So I want to find out a lot of things about this to determine if I should actually, and then you see AI engine does a lot of things that I don't even know how to do, because to look at, for instance, these indicators, it uses all kinds of indicators. Look at all the indicators it's used: cash flow health, relative value, growth health, price momentum, profitability. It did all this on its own in order to give me a summary status. It says company's health is great. And typically I want to invest only in companies that have great and excellent. It said its price right now of 6 naira 13 kobo. That's the price today. It says that it is fair price. So that is a good, and then you remember, this had recommended that a good place for us to enter is between 550 and 650. And right now, is 615, 613. And the technical analysis, the sentiments in the market is very, very strong. You know, it kind of says strong buy. And then it gives me some other tips. I get this because I have the paid version. In the free version, you won't tell that. You won't see this. But it tells you that this company, UPDC, holds more cash than debt on its balance sheet. So I'm sold. That's how I add UPDC to my portfolio. How did I arrive at it? That's what I've just shown you. I didn't just go to the Nigerian stock market and then no, there's a process, and I've just shown you a process and how AI made it extraordinarily easy for me to do. And then I would do the same thing, okay? So typically I would do the same thing for all these other stocks that it has recommended here. So I'll do the same thing for C&I Leasing, Lasaco Assurance, and that. And then it's actually asking if I wanted to build a list of 10 with as much available data as possible. I can actually say yes, to see more stocks that it will tend to analyze and recommend. Okay, so it gives me this detailed analysis. UPDC gives me all the technical. This is just amazing. Okay, it just gives me all this, the risks, the 3-year potential, everything. Universal insurance, half year 2025, ended 30th June, profit 970 million. Okay, versus a loss of 170. Fantastic information that they made the same period last year. So this is a huge turnaround. So if I'm looking for universal, if I'm looking for an insurance company that is ₦1 something to invest in, I can take a bet on Universal Insurance based on this information that it has given me, which I wouldn't have known if I didn't use the AI prompt. And I want to be honest with you about Universal Insurance. I actually did this. I used exactly the same prompt, and I found Universal Insurance when it was 60 kobo. And I exited in Universal Insurance last week at ₦1 20 kobo, like 100 and something %. I exited that and then used it to buy NEM. I'm keeping it within the same insurance. Okay, so this is amazing. All right, is somebody getting value? Somebody getting value? Is this making sense to you? Type something in the comment section, all right? So that, yeah, I want to really make sure, because this should be an aha. This should be like a climax, you know? Okay, so John is asking, how did you get the daily price list summary? Very, very easy. Literally all your stockbrokers send you daily summaries, or you can go to the Nigerian Stock Exchange website. They have the daily summary. So I got it from my stockbroker, which is Atlas Portfolio. I just downloaded it from there. But for the one of the New York Stock Exchange, it was a little bit more rigorous because there are countless numbers of companies. So I had to stop at 8,000 and something. But we have enough data to be able to. So you can download it from the NGX website, or you can download it from your stockbroker. The stockbroker trading platform has that summary every single day. Okay, I see we have just like 5 minutes or something to the hour. Do you guys want me to go ahead and do the one of New York Stock Exchange to find some US stocks? Do you want us to go ahead, or do you want us to take it next time? Just let me know in the chat. I need your permission to go ahead. All right. Okay. I've seen it. Okay. I've seen a couple of yeses. All right. So let me show you the incredible miracle. Now, why I like this particularly is that I don't know the US stock market well. You know, that's not my economy. I don't know it well. And then for me to be able to sieve through over 10,000 companies in the stock exchange. That is crazy. I won't be able to do that. I mean, it will take like how many years before I even, so with all these companies, I don't know what they're into. I don't know nothing about them. But with this prompt I'm giving you, it can analyze the entire market and then give you a list of stocks that you can check and invest in today and make money. I can tell you, give me stocks under $10 or give me stocks under $20 that will likely become $300 in another 9 months, because the volatility in the US stock market is crazy. And I'm sure Gustav will tell you that because he plays in the US stock market. In Nigeria, stock market is a bit regulated because the highest it can go in one day, the highest gain is 10% by regulation, and then the lowest it can fall is 10%. But there's no such boundary in the US. So if you're trading, if you're doing day trading, you can start with $1,000 at 9 a.m. and then you can start with $1,000 at 9 a.m. and by the close of the trading day, end up with $30. But in Nigerian stock market, the highest you can lose in one day, if you put in $1,000, is 10% of 1,000, which is $100. So the worst that can happen to your funds is $9,000. So is $900. Now, but if you find some fantastic stocks that have this upside potential in the US stock market, you can actually make a lot of money. You can actually make a lot of money using this AI intelligence. All right, so let's copy the same and start a new chart and do the same thing for US stock market. But what I'm going to do is to first of all change the inputs. So I'll copy the same prompt, which I'm going to show you. So you can tweak it anyhow. Here, based on the most recent, now I'm going to say New York, NYSE, stock list, and then stock list, I have fundamentals, I have performance. I have performance, and I have the technical data. I've downloaded all that, and I can show you how to download that. So I'm saying identify all listed companies. That's the first instruction. So should we say $10? Suggest, or $20? Like if you want to invest right now, should we say stocks under $10 or stocks under 20? Okay, let's say stocks under $10. Stocks under $10. Okay, so from this universe, I'm telling it perform a comprehensive screening using both technical and fundamental analysis. Okay, that's still good. You can access fundamentals and news from there, the same thing. For each company, evaluate profitability, growth trends, and blah, 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 and all that. Okay, 6 months, trading volume, and all that. So rank them by quality of business model, financial strength, and upside potential. Recommend, this time, let's say the top 50 penny stocks for long-term investors and provide enterprise zones and all that and all that and all that. Okay, fantastic. So we hold our breath. And then, first of all, I've got to add the files. So I have downloaded it. This is the price, today's price, stock market price, US stock market price. This is the technical, this is the performance data. So I give that assignment to AI. Guys, do you know what you have? Do you actually understand what you're learning tonight? This is literally I mean, like, even if this was all you came into Financial Fitness Challenge to learn, if you really grasp this, I guarantee you are money. See, I came from a science background. And I can tell you, I'm not there yet, but I'm doing well. It's because of these little tools. Because all I'm saying is that AI, technology, and financial markets have democratized wealth. Technology, because now, unlike just how many, even 5-10 years ago, you couldn't trade the US markets from Lagos or from Cameroon or from wherever. You couldn't. But today, fintechs allow us to be able to trade US stock market from your bedroom. The same thing, with the Nigerian stock market. We were in the US not long ago, and I was monitoring my portfolio. It's just I had to wake up and be awake, when the market is on because of the time difference and things like that. But I was doing that all because of technology. You couldn't do this 20 years ago. This thing that you have done now, if you were to pay an investment company to analyze the entire US market of more than 10,000 companies and give you a recommendation, number one, is going to take them months. Number two, you're going to pay through your nose. But here with AI, with this thing, I'm able to do it. And you can time the number of seconds. It will do this and then recommend and tell you guys, these 50 US stocks under 10 are very, very likely to make you very rich. How much would you pay for that? Okay. All right. So let's run it and see what it will give us. This is amazing. Can you see the speed? Yeah. This is, yeah. Then it starts analyzing. It starts analyzing to give us. All right. So while that analysis is going on, okay, yeah, everybody says under $10. John is still asking about where InfoWare comes in. No, this is not InfoWare. InfoWare is just the Nigerian stock market. So now we are using investing.com because that's actually, it accesses the global markets. Okay. Let's see if there's another question I can handle while ChatGPT is doing the work for us. All right. Okay. Philip says, how do I download the current live price list for the Nigerian and US stock markets? I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I've already talked about how to download the Nigerian stock market. You do it from the NGX website or through your stockbroker's email. They send daily price summaries. For the US, I will show you exactly how you can do that. Okay, very good. Now, it says, great. We now have a cleaned data set of NYSE stocks under $10, merged with fundamentals, performance, and technical signals. All right. Then it says, this is what I suggest next, screen that ranking strategy. And then it asks, do you want me to run the composite scoring model on these files, quantitative ranking, and then supplement? Or would you prefer I first give you a broad summary list? Okay, I want a broad summary list, first of all. All right. Yeah. Let him give me a broad summary list, first of all. Okay. And while that is going on, let me show you, Philip, how to download the data. All right, let's finish with this, and I'll come back to that. Let's finish with this. Okay, so fundamentally versus technically strong penny stocks list. So he said, I've created a broad summary of penny stock candidates filtered from the list. And then he defines what fundamentally stock means. They are under $10, but still have real earnings. PE ratio less than 25, healthy revenue, market caps that are decent at more than 300 million, because anything less than that might actually be risky. Technically strong, okay? All right, so now we can refine this into a top 50 ranked list, blending fundamentals and techniques, and add this, right? I say yes, that's exactly what we want to do. So let's hold our breath for 50 US stocks, penny stocks, or stocks under $10 that you can invest in tomorrow, that you can research and invest in tomorrow using this ChatGPT prompt, miracle prompt. That's what I call it, miracle prompt. Okay. Okay. So let's do that. While he's doing that, let's look at how to download. I'm sure there are many sites you can do, but just because I use investing.com, I just find that useful. So I come to United States. I hope you can see my screen as I change. When I change, do you see the screen? When I change the tabs?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Oh, very good. Okay. So now I come to United States. No, it's not supposed to give me that. It's supposed to give me stocks. Okay, markets. Stocks. I want all of the stocks in the US. So US. Come on. Oh, markets. Markets, stocks. Looking for United States. So this is, oh my God. We haven't been recording this thing. Oh my God. God have mercy. I just discovered that. Oh, co-host, you didn't remind me to press the record button. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hopefully it should be on YouTube. Okay. So we go to United States, and I'm saying I want all of it. I don't just want a few. I want all of it. All the markets. Most active Americas. All right, you know what? Don't let this waste our time. I can show us later. Okay, so now here is our list. And it actually gives us a download link because it might be easier for us to view it on a spreadsheet. And then it tells us something else that we can do. I can layer verified news and insider institutional moves. This is just incredible. This is incredible. So not just that it actually gives you, insider news, institutional moves, and things like that from all this other place. Do that. Let's tell it to do that. While we look at the one that it has already given us. God have mercy. We didn't record this. Oh my good. Okay. So now let's look at the 50 that it has recommended that we can look at using a spreadsheet. There we go. Oh, okay. You're not seeing what I'm saying. Okay. So this is our list that we can now start working on. It gives us the names. So these are the names, the last price, there is a composite score, fundamental score, and things like that. What actually I wanted, you know, strong buy, strategy. All right, but first of all, I'm going to ask you to give me a summary for each of them, why it thinks it's a very, but here are the 50 companies that we can now start working on. So I can take this one after the other and go to investing.com and check the information. But from the analysis I've done so far, using rules, the data, and the information I've given AI, I can guarantee I can move into these stocks. I can pick the top 10 here blindly because I don't even know about the US stock market, that much. But with analysis, I have the confidence in the analysis that AI has done on the data, real life data, fundamentals data of all these stocks. And it did all these internal things that I can't even understand, that investment bankers, we spend months to do, and it gave me this 50. So this is very, very exciting. And that's what I mean by teaching you how to fish instead of just telling you. So you see, I could have just done this analysis blindly and then come to you and say, guys, yeah, invest in Universal Security Instruments, Xunio Limited. Okay, so let's even take the Universal Securities Limited, the first one here, and then go verify that live on investing.com. Let's verify that live. And then you see just how powerful this is. So instead of 10,000 US stocks, I've narrowed down to 50 that I can work on. So this is one of them, Universal Security Instrument. Okay, in New York. And of course, you always look at what it brings out, because you might find another one with the same ticker symbol, but it's in a different stock market. This time this one is in Berlin. This first one is the New York Stock Exchange, which is the one we are looking at. So let's find out some more information to see what AI did. Did it give us some interesting clues? In fact, I'm going to directly invest in some of this tomorrow. Can you see what I'm seeing here? So this is a paid version. I'm not sure you can see that some of the things I'm seeing here. Can you see out of nearly 10,000 companies, the AI prompt narrowed it down to these 50. The very first one, I just said, let me check with real data. See what I'm seeing here. It's undervalued at this price. The company health is great. And it said it still has an upside of 21%, meaning it can still go at the current price. At the current price, it can still go if you multiply this by 1.2. It can go that way. And then it gives me some pro tips, which is only available for subscribing members. And it's telling me that this company actually holds more cash than debt in its balance sheet. That's amazing. Then it gives me a lot of other information. Gives me a lot of earning per share growth forecast, 145.7%. Revenue is 22.7 million. Can you imagine? Revenue is far, far higher than the market cap. And then shares outstanding, only $2, $2.3 million. In fact, I'm going to invest in this company tomorrow. I'm going to buy this company tomorrow. So it doesn't get easier than this. It doesn't get easier than this. Technology, AI, financial markets have made it easy for anyone from anywhere in the world to make a lot of money. Okay? So what's your aha moment? Everybody, go to the Telegram group as usual. Go to the Telegram group right now. It's compulsory. What is your aha moment today? And I'm going to put it up for you to see. So that's always our last ritual before we call it an evening. What was your aha moment today? What are you going to take and go out there and become incredibly rich? Everybody? Everybody. And I'm going to have to figure out for people who missed it. Well, worst case scenario, we do it again. We'll do it again for people who missed it. But that was really, really, really sad that we forgot to press the record button. Okay. Okay, Yusi said, okay, Yusi is watching via YouTube. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Why couldn't you join the Zoom, Yusi? The link was actually there. Okay, and then the good thing is that fortunately it's on YouTube. So we can always have the replay from YouTube, fortunately. Okay. All right, so Babatunde's aha moment is ease of choosing stock with detailed analysis. Amazing. Okay. Ella says, the amazing discovery just now of the capacity of AI to analyze and give me this incredible result. Absolutely. Most exciting. Okay. Spiwe says, it's amazing seeing how AI can bridge the knowledge gap, especially helping how to choose stocks. For those of us, so I do not need investment banking degree anymore. I'm too old to start a 4-year degree program on investment banking just to get rich because I'm already getting rich. I'm already using it. Thanks to AI. 4-year college education compressed in a tiny prompt that makes millions. Okay. And Ayuba says, having a well-detailed analysis of the stocks via the AI for added values. Okay, fantastic. So everybody keep it coming. J-Man says, aha moment. The genius of AI, ChatGPT prompts. Okay, Chukwebuka says, it's profound seeing how to use AI to multiply our minds. I'm impressed. It's an eye-opener. Fantastic. This is the whole thing. This is the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. When I say that money is easy to make, this is what I'm talking about. But you've got to learn the system and create a system. And money is hard to make. There are so many people in their 40s, 50s who are not investing because they don't even know where to begin. They have the money. They don't even know where to begin, who to start asking. And then the commonest question I get all the time is, what stock should I buy? What stock? But can you see, in one night, you've had a full college education on how you can get these things done. Okay, Emmanuel says, this is one thing I've always wanted to learn. And it's amazing that the tools are right before me every day. Absolutely. Says it's an eye-opener. So everybody keep it going. Everybody here, please make sure you share your, excuse me, your aha moment. And so now put it to use immediately. Put it to use immediately. Tomorrow, once the markets open, put it to use. Analyze, pick stocks. Then tell us, share, everybody, share your stock picks, okay? That's the assignment. Share your stock picks that you use this information to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I love you, praying for you, and I totally believe that this is perhaps one of the most important things that you're doing for yourself, you know, working on your financial fitness, because when you become financially independent, there's a whole lot you can do for yourself and for humanity. So pursue it. It's more important than your hustle. Learning these things and applying it and building your portfolio is more important than hustle. It's more important than 9 to 5. Remember the 2 illustrations. Never forget what I told you about building systems, connecting your pipeline to the ocean. It involves a lot of learning. It involves a lot of practicing. It involves a lot of interacting with others in the group. And then at the end, you are going to be very, very happy. Many of you, it's not even today you will thank me. Just wait until the next 1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You will just see where you are. You can't believe it. And then you will look back to today and be thankful that you were patient enough to go through the process, to walk through it, to make it happen. So I love you all. You have a wonderful evening, and then we will continue our conversations